Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Tim Hannon to our club, and a little bit about Tim. After attending Jesuit Seminary for high school, so he's in the same fraternity that the Pope is in, Tim graduated from the University of San Francisco with a Bachelor of Arts degree, majoring in political science. He graduated from Georgetown University Law Center in Washington, D.C. with a Doctor of Jurisprudence degree. Tim was active duty in the U.S. Coast Guard and in the reserves for many years, honorably discharged as a lieutenant commander. He's been practicing law in California for over 35 years and has a distinguished lawyer rating from peers in Martindale Hubbell. He's an experienced mediator and arbitrator. Tim lives in the Valley of the Moon with his family. In his spare time, he likes to read short stories, poetry, and history books, talk about and be involved in libertarian politics and civic organizations such as the Sonoma County Taxpayers Association, attend live theater, and I like this one, play hardball in the men's senior baseball league. Please, a warm welcome for Tim Hannon.
What position?
First base. First slide, second slide. Well, top morning to you all. Special thanks to Al Lustig for inviting me to be here with you this morning. I don't mind telling you, I'm having a good time. You folks are easy to take. I'm just recently elected president of the Sonoma County Taxpayers Association, and I'm here this morning in that capacity. I'm here to tell you about the association. Our mission statement, let's begin with that. Quote, "We are a broad-based group of citizens whose primary goal is to protect taxpayers by providing a watchful eye on government and voicing our collective concern at irresponsible taxation and spending." End quote. It's a daunting task. Here locally, we have the county government, and we have 9 city governments to keep watch on. And their lawmakers, their policymakers gather every so often to make new laws, new taxes. And when they do, they are approached by a number of well-organized interest groups. The real estate industry certainly is well represented. The construction industry has a powerful spokesman. The public employees, of course, have their very powerful, influential, well-organized, well-financed unions, the police, the fire, and so forth. But there's nobody to represent the taxpayers, who, after all, end up having to pay for all this government. Nobody, that is, except us, Sonoma County Taxpayers Association. The association has been around since 1945, a long time, not as long as Rotary, but still a long time. And we currently have about 400 members in our local Sonoma County Association, if you include spouses. And we try to urge upon local officials the fact that they are trustees of the taxpayers' money. That means that they owe the taxpayers a duty of loyalty, honesty, fiscal responsibility. Sometimes they don't want to hear that, but we're there to tell them that. More specifically, what we do is we research selective tax issues. We can't take on everything, just the ones we think we can handle. You've got to be careful about what fights you pick, you know. We develop sound positions on various tax issues. We meet with local officials when we can, and we participate in public forums, public debates, radio shows, and such as that. I'm pleased to say that the Sonoma County Taxpayers Association has built a good reputation over the years, a reputation for being fair-minded, and fact-based, and reasonable. Some people out there think that we oppose every tax that comes before us. That is not true. We're pretty deliberate and objective about evaluating each tax proposal we consider. We don't oppose everything. How successful have we been over the years? It's hard to measure that. But we are encouraged by the fact that some of our positions or advisories have been adopted by local officials. For example, recently, not the last tax season, but the one before, we had measures I and L on the ballot. Those were bond measures to raise money for Santa Rosa High School District and Santa Rosa Elementary School District. And we had been urging that any bond measure should be as long or as short as the useful life of what is to be purchased with the bond money. In other words, the longevity of the bond should match the longevity of whatever is being purchased with the bond money. The school district had been pretty profligate about that in the past. But those two measures reflected that position that we encouraged the school districts to take. We were happy to see that. Local press and radio call upon the Sonoma County Taxpayer Association routinely to give our opinions about various tax measures. We are asked to weigh in. For example, the City of Santa Rosa Task Force on Pensions recently invited us to sit in on their task force and give our reviews. School districts and fire districts also seek our endorsement. I think the most recent success that we can point to with some assurance is Measure A. Y'all remember Measure A 2 months ago? June 2nd on the ballot was the only measure. It was touted to be a tax to raise money to fix Sonoma County's roads. And we all know that the roads are in bad shape and they need fixing. We opposed Measure A, however. We opposed it not because we're against fixing the roads. God knows we know the roads need fixing. But because Measure A was, in our view, a deception. We wrote the opposition to Measure A that appeared in the voters' ballot. And we pointed out there that Measure A, in Measure A, the Board of Supervisors wrote one thing, but said quite another. The way the Measure A read was that it was going to raise $20 million a year for 5 years, total $100 million. And that money was to be devoted to, according to the measure, public safety, whatever that meant, and transit for veterans and the elderly and students. And there was a mention of fixing potholes. And finally, the money was to be spent on, quote, other essential services, whatever that meant. Fair enough. But all 5 members of the Board of Supervisors fanned out in all directions and took advantage of any publicity they could get, in the form of radio shows, public debates, or whatever, to tell us all about Measure A is going to be devoted entirely to the repair of the roads. That was simply not true. In truth, in fact, the way the measure was written, a small percentage of that $20 million a year was to be devoted to repairing the roads. That's all. We opposed Measure A because we saw it as bad government. It's just not good government to lie to the voters, the taxpayers. We had to close that. All this by saying, by way of saying that the Sonoma County Taxpayers Association has become a force for fiscal responsibility in local government. And we intend to continue that way, but we need members. The more members we have, the more likely it is that local politicos will listen to what we have to say about the proposed tax measures. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to tell you about the Taxpayers Association. And I'd like to encourage you all to consider joining. I brought about a dozen membership application forms. I'll put them on the table over there by the door. It's got contact information on this membership application form. So anybody who would care to learn more about our association, or indeed anyone who would care to join us, is most welcome. And now if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them. Yes, sir.
If you do join, what's the typical duties or obligations for somebody that becomes a member?
That's really up to you. We are a volunteer organization. We need all the help we can get. Whatever your talents may be, we'll be glad to employ them. If you're good at writing, you need help writing letters to the editor, the position papers. If you're a bookkeeper or accountant, we can sure use you. We often have occasion to go over the books and records of the local government. If you just want to attend the monthly meetings, we meet once a month, the third Thursday of each month, at the Fountain Grove Inn, Santa Rosa. And we always have an interesting guest speaker. For example, this month we'll have the mayor of Petaluma, David Glass. And the month after that we'll have Shirley Zane, the controversial member of the county board of supervisors. Yeah.
When you come up with your positions on a certain issue, how does that process work? Do you have a small elected board that makes that decision with input from the entire organization?
Yeah, very good question. We have an executive committee consisting of 6 people. We're about to add, I think we're about to add Joanne Sanders, the former mayor of Sonoma, as a 7th member. And the executive committee really does the hard work, the shoveling. We can't take on every grievance about taxation that comes before us. We just don't have the resources for that. But yeah, we have an executive committee that looks hard at various tax issues. And then we have a larger board of directors consisting of about 25 people. And so the executive committee works out positions and then passes them for review by the 25-member board of directors. That's what we do. Yeah, sir.
That's a common perception that the Sonoma County Taxpayers Association opposes all taxes. Can you talk about 5, 6, 7 propositions or new taxes that they endorse?
Yeah, I can't think of 5, 6, or 7 immediately off the top of my head, but we have a number of times said yes to fire district or school district bond proposals. Yeah. I'm frankly proud of the fact that our organization brings an objective and fair-minded attitude toward the review of any tax proposal. No, we're not against everything. Yes, sir.
Do you proactively help draft initiatives to make sure they are responsible, like GMOs or the roads? They're very popular. People would like those to be addressed, but just to make sure that they're more responsible or better written.
Well, I think GMOs falls outside the scope of our interest, but when we're invited to, yeah, we're happy to help draft measures or propositions or whatever. We're not asked often by the taxing authorities to draft, but we welcome any opportunity to do so.
Are you associated with other taxpayer associations around the country?
We're, I don't know what you mean by associated with. We are in contact with, we share information with.
Do you network or is there?
Yes. There's a statewide organization of taxpayers, California Taxpayers Association, and many counties, of course, have taxpayer associations. Marin County has an active one.
It's not a national.
I don't know if it's national one or not.
Well, you would know.
Well, not necessarily. I don't know everything. I just think of it. Yes, sir.
Measure A failed for out and everything else, the roads remain unfixed. Is there any outreach on that, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, to people like yourselves to say, okay, fine, if that didn't work, should we try and draft legislation that would specifically take the tax dollars and specifically spend it on the roads? And then guess what, everybody might vote for that.
Well, Sonoma County Taxpayers Association is not taking an official position, but unofficially, I can tell you that most of our membership would favor a tax if it were honestly, straightforwardly presented as a tax for the sole purpose of fixing the road. We would probably endorse that. Yes.
Do they know that you write it? Do you write to them, let them know exactly how you feel about it and the way it should be, compared to the way they seriously threw all these things in there where the money should go? I mean, do you tell them, you just hold up?
Well, yeah. Actually, it was right in the, as I recall, it was right in the opposition of the road. Now, we also wrote, after the Measure A failed, we wrote to the newspapers, urging the Board of Supervisors to be straightforward with voters in the future. We told them why we thought the measure failed. The voters of Sonoma County were discerning enough, not voters were discerning enough to see that there was a defect on it, and they rejected it. And we corroborated that with the letter to the editor.
Before the measure came out, couldn't you have done something prior to coming all out? Don't you know prior to getting on the ballot that this is what you're going to do, and then to say, hey, listen, this isn't going to fly? Or they wait to see it. They don't care. They wait to when people voted.
Well, that's precisely why we wrote the opposition to the measure that appeared at the Board of Council. Yeah. So,
it's my
yeah, I got three
opinion
hands up there.
that it was written that way, according to members I know on the Board of Supervisors. Because if they were real specific on just the road tax, they needed 2/3 vote as compared with what they wrote that needed a simple majority. And that was their rationale behind it. Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that. That's true. The road, if the Measure A had been voted solely and entirely fixing the roads, it would have needed a 2/3 vote to pass. That's true. But you probably would have gotten 2/3 vote to pass.
No, I mean, in the end, you're correct.
I know that. Because to get Measure A passed, the Board of Supervisors talked about nothing but fixing the roads. They led with that issue. So, and they put it on the ballot that way, I think it would have passed. Yes, sir.
So do you get, does the association get involved with government efficiency? Like, I'll use an example. Homeless, mentally ill people. We used to have a stronger, I remember when, we had a stronger mental health department. That kind of got phased down, and without replacement by proxy, we end up with so many people using our criminal justice system. They're in the county jails, a lot of people, and also in the hospitals. That seems horribly wasteful to me of tax dollars and human capital. Do you ever? Is that an interest?
To reopen mental institutions.
Well, no. Is that an interest to be involved with the government about those sorts of larger picture issues? Or is it more about the individual taxation questions?
No, we've got to stick to just tax issues. That would be beyond our, we can't take on everything. Yes, sir.
There was a fairly recent bond issue for Santa Rosa Junior College support. Can you comment upon that and what your organization's position was on it?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
There was a Santa Rosa Junior College bond issue that went within the last couple of years, I believe.
Right.
And could you maybe comment upon what your perspective and your organization's position was on that?
Now, the most recent bond issue in favor of funding Santa Rosa Junior College, well, we're all in favor of education, but we were rather disappointed by the fact that the previous bond issue was touted as an end-all, be-all solution to any fiscal problems that Santa Rosa Junior College might have, and it turns out that it wasn't. And so everything came again, the same pitch, same promise, and the second time we weren't buying it. So we said, no, get your fiscal house in order, Santa Rosa Junior College, and then we'll support you. But not just.
Did you look at where the money went?
Yeah, we studied that. I'm not prepared to give you a breakdown
Okay.
here and now, but we did study that very hard. We've done a lot of anomalies. This lady had her hand up earlier.
Well, I was just back to, clearly there has to have been taxes for the roads already. Is that money being managed properly? The same like you just explained for the junior college. I mean, is there just not enough money as prices of inflation? Why do the taxes we pay already not cover our roads? This is a wealthy county.
Well, there is some tax money being devoted to the roads, despite the defeat of Measure A. There's a gasoline tax that's being used to fund the roads, but it's not enough.
It's not enough.
Sonoma County has 1,384 miles of roadway, and the gas tax is diminishing, partly because of greater fuel efficiency in the vehicles that we provided, partly because of the popularity, growing popularity of electric vehicles. So the gas tax is diminishing. I think it's fair to say that there just isn't enough money to properly fix all the roads in Sonoma County. And again, we don't oppose fixing the roads or raising the money to fix the roads. What we do oppose is deception of voters. We won't put up with that. That's not good government. There are other things. Yes, sir.
Like a lot of people in the county, I rent part of my property to vacation. And there's, first of all, to do that, you have to get a permit from the county. Once you get a permit, you're on the tax rolls for what they call the TOT, Transient Occupancy Tax. That's 9% of everything that I do. How does that number get picked? And who decides what that amount should be?
Well, who decides would be county board of supervisors, or in the case of the city council, how they determine how much transit occupancy tax should be. I don't know. I wish I could answer your question, but I can't. I just don't know. Yes, sir.
Are public agencies required to have their fishing operations on the books? And are agencies complying with that requirement?
Yes, and as far as I know, yes. We've got a lot of information, for example, about Sonoma County's pension plans, pension budgeting, directly from county government offices there. They've been pretty forthcoming with information, I must say. And if they weren't, then we could resort to the Brown Act or the Public Records Disclosure Act of California. So I think we've been pretty successful in gleaning information so that we can analyze local budgets. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So you're kind of a watchdog, make sure the money's being spent properly. Sometimes when a police officer pulls somebody over, they give them a gold star. Thanks for stopping and being courteous. Do you ever give gold stars or awards for people who are spending our money wisely?
Yes, I do. Thanks for asking that. I guess we do. Thanks for asking. We give an annual award to somebody that we recognize in local government, either county government or one of the city governments, as being representing good government. We call it the Good Government Award. And every year, some official in the county gets that award for one reason or another, showing fiscal responsibility, showing respect for the taxpayers, you want to say. Yes, we do.
Who's the last one?
A woman in the city of Sonoma, I've forgotten her name, she's a comptroller down there. She did a bang-up job of balancing the city of Sonoma's books. Yeah, she was a good one. And any other questions?
I'm right over here, Tim, Jerry.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, can you give an example of what your organization thinks was the worst, or one of the worst taxes that has been levied on us taxpayers?
Oh, the smart train comes to mind. Yeah, I nominate that one for the obvious, it's an obvious boondoggle. I think that the taxpayers of Sonoma County and Marin County jointly, in the end, voted in favor of Smart Train, partly because Smart Train people had so much money to spend on campaigning, and partly because a lot of the voters envisioned that this train would be something comparable to the Orient Express. It's going to be this wonderful, romantic, commodious train. It's not. It's a little plastic kitty car. But the more important things are the numbers. By the Smart Train's own admission, it's going to cost something like $40 per ride, to be heavily subsidized by the taxpayers. It wasn't going to make an iota of difference to the congestion on the highways. And practically doomed to failure. They just don't have the population density to justify Smart Train. A transit system like that may make sense in an urban setting like San Francisco or Paris or London, but not Sonoma County. I'm afraid it's going to cost us way more than it's worth. There's an example of that.
Please thank our speaker. So we're going to wrap it up here. First Friday at Terry Kelly's house. Be there. Sign up for Cajun, please. Daniel, we wish you a happy trip representing our club. Whatever island in China, where are you going exactly? Doesn't seem that far. I've heard of Taiwan. Raffle.
Raffle. I got the winner.
Yeah, that's not all you get for restriction.
What's that?
Some of that is money you bought and gave back.
Oh.
You can just take out of
Let's see here. Pick that. Continue. I changed my mind about that money.
665.
665. You got it? Which money do you want? That money or the money I got on my person?
Does he get to reach for it?
Yeah, well, the money though, that's not bad. They have. That's what it is. See, he's giving back too. I just shake you dead. All right. Is that it? Just say it out.
Joe.
Does somebody have a joke?
Yeah, I have a joke.
Don has.
Okay.
My typical story, a couple of young women are talking about their relationships and their histories, and strangely enough, it's a brunette and a blonde. And the brunette says to the blonde who's talking about her sexual activity, the brunette says, well, I've had sex with a Brazilian. And the blonde says, whoa, how many is that? Thrill to you.
Until we can.